2009, I got a Facebook invitation from my Florida. And I only knew that my kids were on Facebook. I figured Facebook is just, okay. And I looked at the invitation, I said, I'm not joining Facebook. I kept getting the same invitation from my cousin. I said, you know what, it's not gonna hurt me just to say, okay, I'll do it and I'll never look at it. Cheyenne, I don't know what happened, but it snowballed into, all of a sudden I became so involved in the process of Facebook only from the point of me starting a fan page. That's what I decided to do. Because I started writing, I didn't really use it much for social. I used it at the beginning just for writing posts. Because that's when I had first started with this life and style consulting before I became a life coach. And I started getting a following. And then when I started with the life coaching, I changed it. I opened a fan page and I started every day putting these little blog posts, which is what I do now. And little by little, I got a huge fan following, and everybody would say to me, Susan, you have to write a book. And I would constantly say, I could write these little blurbs, but I can't sit down and write a whole book. How do you do this in a whole book? At the time, we knew a woman who was a freelance writer and editor. And she was doing some freelance work for my husband, who's a dentist. She was doing little press releases that he needed sometimes. And he said to me, why don't you ask Millie? Maybe Millie could help you, give you ideas. So I contacted her. I said, Millie, I have all these posts that I've written on Facebook, and they're all archived on if you scroll down my Facebook page. I said, is there a way that you could take all these posts, put them into some kind of order, like in terms of like self-esteem, anxiety, because I would write about different things, and then maybe put it into chapter form for a book. She said, oh, sure. So she started doing this for me. She would send me the drafts of what she did, and it was coming out amazing. She was doing an amazing job. And I said, this is great. This is gonna be such a great book now because I have somebody who really knows what she's doing. So this went on for like a year. She was showing, because it was a lot of work. So one day, Millie contacts me and she says, Susan, I know we're only halfway through. She says, but I can't do this anymore. She said, I got another job and I can't devote any more time to doing this with you. I hung up the phone with her. I said to my husband, that's it. I'm not going to do this anymore. I can't do this on my own. And Millie was great. I put it on hold for a couple of months. And then I said, you know what, I don't want to give up on this because it really is something that I really want to do. So I went on a search for another editor, and I interviewed a bunch of editors, and I found somebody else, and I said, do you think you could, her name is Sheila Buff, and I found her, and I said, do you think you could continue the work that my other editor started? She says, sure. So it was like the second half of the book, and she did it, that took about 6 months, and finally the whole manuscript was done. And and I read through it. It was a lot of work because I had to read through it and edit it myself. That wasn't the end of it. That was the easy part, really, because writing, getting a book, into the actual book form is a lot of work, which I never realized. But Sheila knew a lot about that end, so I had to get the Library of Congress number and all that, and all kinds of things before you could actually publish it. And then I had to get a interior book designer. My son Devin, actually, who's an artist, did the outer book cover, so that worked out conveniently. But it was just a process that took a lot of time. And finally, in January 2011, it was published, and it's been the greatest joy. It's like I feel like it's my fourth child, really. I'm just so proud of this book. This is my book, Simple Strides Toward Positive Change. And it's really, I'm getting so much positive feedback from it, and I'm very, very proud of it. And that's what it basically is. It's all the lessons that I've learned, all the things that I write on Facebook. This is basically a compilation, not only of the things that I've written on Facebook, but I've also written many articles on I had a website blog that I had many, many articles. I'm just very proud of it because it's all my words, it's all my experiences. I write a lot about my own dealing with kids that bullied me when I was younger, Well, a lot of the stuff, I tell a lot of personal stories, which a lot of people feel comfortable reading because it's not all about just reading a book with mechanical, do this, do that. People get bored to me with books. I've read a lot of self-help books, and I've read 10 pages and I put it down because I don't want to read about just like mechanical, like scientific I want to read something that grabs me and feels personal. So my book, I feel like, is really a personal journey because I put in a lot of my personal story.